This is how most people like to watch TV. This is how tech geeks like to consume content. If they want it to be vertical, well, they can do that. And if they want it to be an ordinary TV experience, they can do that as well. They can also do video calls. This is your workout companion and your study companion as well. And you can do all sorts of things because this is also a PC. This is an all-in-one. This is the first time you are seeing this anywhere on YouTube, on Indian television, the LG One Quick Flex. That's not all. If you're impressed with this technological marvel, there's a lot on the show with this as well. And all there is to know about the Apple event, which is coming very soon, and a robotics surprise at the end of the show. It's going to be an action-packed episode. I'm your host, Aayush Elavadi, and this is Tech Today. What's that? You said you want to work from home? What if I have for you an ultimate work from home companion? The LG One Quick Flex. The first time you're seeing this on Indian television or YouTube is here on Tech Today. I like saying it again and again. It's an exclusive, and this is an absolute technological masterpiece. Let me tell you all about it. The minute you get this, you're looking at it and you're showing this to your family members and you're saying, what's this all about? Is this a computer? Is this, well, a TV? What if I told you it has everything that a computer has and a TV has, and it could be in this lovely 16:9 orientation, and in a minute like that, it is 9:16 as well. I'm not usually this excited about small devices like handsets and watches, but this is a sort of leap into the future for a lot of us. It makes our lives a lot easier because of the fact that this isn't WebOS or Android or any of that. This is Windows. The way Windows was supposed to be, a lot more intuitive for touchscreen devices. I am fascinated by the initial application on this particular device. Of course, this is the first rendition. LG will keep getting better with every version, but for starters, this is impressive. Well, of course, you can have it in this vertical orientation, and then when you roll it back to a normal TV, remember, this camera system, which is quite a neat setup on top, can be adjusted, and I'll tell you how that works and how that's useful for your work from home life. But this is what the TV looks like in its standard mode. I'm not going to call this a TV because this is a lot more. It's an all-in-one from LG, and when you have it like this, you can use it like a computer, you can use it for video conferencing. This product, or this line of products by LG, was more for enterprise users. It was for big IT firms or banking firms or even doctors or even for education if you want to use this for remote learning in schools. This was the device that they had come up with. Well, of course, there's a 55-inch, which is an enterprise edition, but the 43-inch version, I think LG thinks, and I think as well, would be ideal in your hall. And if it's not something that you want to keep in your hall and you want to wheel it away, it comes with a movable stand and you can just roll it around. I think that sort of functionality makes it really cool. Well, at the back it has a bunch of different ports. There is the Windows computer ports because it runs on Windows, and then there's the typical TV ports. The TV ports have an HDMI 1, HDMI 2, a USB Type-C, which is kind of fascinating that it has a Type-C USB in it. You can use it obviously for charging, but you can also use that and then cast this display on like a bigger screen or maybe a projector. And at the back, there's a magnetic surprise. There's a stylus, which can also be used to operate this particular device. So this is like any other stylus, and then there's a remote. Quite a lot like the LG Magic Remote. It has a pointer where if you want to use it, you can just click on something and it's done. It points quite effectively, so you have three ways of interacting with this TV out of the box. One is the stylus, which can be slipped back right on. There's a magnetic clasp out there. Then you have the remote. If you don't want to use the remote, well, then you use your own hands, and I think that does the job as well. And just like a Windows computer with a very good touch screen, this touch is called in-cell touch. It's quite quick, it's quite responsive, and you can do all these things. This is in typical PC mode, but then what if you want to use this as maybe your social media device, or you want to go video conferencing and maybe do yoga whilst you're using this? You can do that as well with these cameras. But now let's talk about the camera, because if you're using this as your work from home companion, wheeling it around the house, or maybe just wanting to do family video calls on it, this camera does the job. It's got a manual tilt and 88-degree field of view, and if you're using it for Skype and stuff like that, it does quite a fairly good job. In terms of the microphone, it picks up audio from the speaker up to 3 meters away. So even if you're far away from the screen, it does a very good job, and it's a very wide camera, and I'll show you how it actually works. I'll first go on the camera app to give you a sense of how wide the field of view is, and here you go. We're right here shooting in the Tech Today studio, and it's grabbing everything. Even though there's a light at the back, it's doing a fairly decent job. Now, that's not all. So if you're testing out the camera, of course, it comes with Microsoft Teams and Skype. That comes with Windows. You can also download Zoom if you want, but since we're using Skype and I want to have a chat with the team, then I can do that. All I got to do is click on this button, call my teammates, and there you go. All good with the show? There you go. So it's a nice wide screen. I'm guessing my producer Aayush can see me as well, because I have a nice little viewfinder in the corner. When you have Windows, you're not reliant on a particular manufacturer's operating system. This is Windows as we all know it, as we've all known it since the 90s. It's pretty much the same in its newest avatar, Windows 10 out of the box, and you can go on the store, the MS store, and download whatever you want. You have stuff like Netflix, Disney, Hotstar, you have games, WhatsApp, Instagram. Now, of course, in terms of viewing experience, this isn't an OLED or a QLED. It's an IPS display, and the speakers 10 watts and 10 watts are okay. So supposing you're doing a Zoom call, maybe a workout or a yoga class. Roll it like this and switch on the video calling feature again, and then you have a vertical orientation. This can be tilted up and down as well. It has face tracking. Obviously, if you're using the Microsoft Office suite and Outlook, then you can do a lot of things on the cloud, which make this quite interesting. Now, this is MS Whiteboard. You click on this, and I'm going to turn it straight this way. Click on a new whiteboard. So when I'm using whiteboard, supposing I want to create a new note, and then we want to talk to our team saying, Tech Today Notes. We can collaborate this way and actually plan this show. You could do this for a bunch of other things as well. I think that this is a device which is waiting to be explored. This is only our first impressions on unboxing it and starting to use it. For the full review, you'll have to come back to the Business Today webpage. In terms of what's under the hood, let me tell you, it comes with AMD Ryzen R1505G CPU, a Radeon Vega GPU, 4 gigs of RAM, and 128 gigs of eMMC internal storage. This is a fascinating piece of technology. All of us on the Tech Today team have been bowled over by this innovation. Even at CES, which is a flagship technology conference, this won a bunch of innovation awards. So credit to the company for getting that right. A few things which I think can get better are the display, of course, but this is an in-cell touch display. It's an IPS panel. Sometimes there are glare sort of issues that we face, but let's just address the elephant in the room. Such fascinating technology, which impresses us on Tech Today, doesn't come cheap. This is more than 3 lakh rupees for this piece, 43 inches only. And if you're going in for a TV, at that price point, you'd get a lot of OLEDs and QLEDs and whatnot. This is not a replacement for your television set. It's not the idiot box. What this is a way to convert the smallest room in your house into your workout studio, into your office conference room, and even into the perfect balance between productivity and entertainment. That's what the LG One Quick Flex is all about. There's going to be a lot more coverage on this device from us at Team Tech Today on the Business Today social media handles. This is where we get to engage with you, the Tech Today community, and all the tech geeks out there, especially during upcoming festive season. I'm guessing you have a bunch of queries that need to be answered. That's why we are coming to you. And if you don't want us coming to you, then you should write into us on our social media handles. You can just drop me a message as well, and I promise you your query will be answered. The best of them will be featured on the show. So where are we off to now? Well, let's spin the wheel and off we go.
I'm a bit confused which iPhone I should buy, that is iPhone 13 or iPhone 12.
Well, that's an interesting question, and let's just zoom out a little bit and make it a larger question. Why just the iPhone? any Apple product, namely an iPhone, an Apple Watch, AirPods, especially these three, right? Because they're expensive products to put your money in, and perhaps you won't change them for the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years. So if you're in the market for a new phone, new TWS earbuds, and of course a new smartwatch, if you're already in the Apple ecosystem and want to upgrade, then please wait. Please wait for a couple of reasons. The first reason being the Apple event is on September 7th. That's not far away, that's a stone's throw away, and you're going to get a lot of things. Let's round up the rumors very quickly. You asked about an iPhone 13 or 12. The iPhone 14 will be a design change most likely. Something that we are really looking forward to is them getting rid of this notch. That's a big deal in Apple ecosystem, iPhone land, right? If they've removed this, that's a big deal. There's going to be a small pill-shaped cut, so you'll have a better display, at least a more immersive experience. You'll also have much better cameras. There's one rumor which says they're going to do away with their 12 megapixels and move on to 48 megapixels. That sounds very minuscule when you compare it to Android devices, but if iPhone is doing it, if Apple is doing it, you can expect some fantastic imaging quality and capabilities. That's not all. They're also talking about an astrophotography mode. There's a lot of things that are happening. Also, maybe they do away with the mini lineup, but they're going to have an iPhone 14, a 14 Max, a 14 Pro and a 14 Pro Max. Now, what's the 14 Max? It's the same size as a Pro Max device, but without Pro features. So if you like a bigger iPhone but don't want to spend too much money on the top of the line model, that might be an option. That's number one, right? Let's then move into the Apple Watch. If they are actually competing with Garmin and launching an Apple Watch 8 Pro, which might be a little more expensive, it'll be meant for the rugged outdoors. So wait for that, because that's a new product altogether if that comes. And of course, the AirPods Pro 2. We've been waiting for a very long time for them, and maybe the time has come. So that's the first case scenario. If you want to splash the big bucks on perhaps the latest and greatest from Apple on September 7th. Those devices will come out first to America maybe in September 16th, 14th, something like that. And then by the end of September, they'll flood all the markets around here in India, Dubai and the like. The second case is that some of the products that you might be in the market for, be it the previous AirPods Pro or even an iPhone 13 Pro Max or 13 Pro or 12 Pro as well, will become a lot cheaper, and they're very good devices as well. There won't be some sort of monumental changes, though they are saying that this September 7th event would entail a lot of them, but they'll still be great devices. You might get great deals. The festive season's coming. There are back-to-school offers coming as well. You might bag a bunch of them like the AirPods free with your next MacBook or iPad purchase. So my advice is wait up, hold up. Let's wait till September 7th and we'll have this conversation yet again.
I'm a bit confused about the Samsung Flip 4 and Fold 4 new phones. Can you please suggest me which one is worth buying?
I knew there was going to be a folding or a flipping question on the show in this particular engagement section. And that's why I have both devices with me, which we've been using since we got back from Samsung Galaxy Unpacked. Of course, it was a crazy event where we got you our initial impressions. But I gave you a hint of a verdict back then itself, right? We compared it with the Fold 3 and the Flip 3, which were good devices. These are incremental upgrades from the previous generation. But I'll tell you why this, according to me, is the real showstopper. That's because if you have to spend 1 lakh, 30, 40, 50,000 rupees, that's a lot of money to spend on a phone, which if you're going to spend on as your primary driver, you have to get used to this whole fold concept. I love it, but I use it as my Android device along with an iPhone. So I'm pretty okay with it. It's great when you're traveling. You can watch content and download it on it. You can use the S Pen, which comes as a separate accessory. And most of the time you can get the job done over here itself. One small bit which I must point out, since we are being completely honest, is that while the display is amazing, the battery is also great. The camera has gotten much better, and we'll show you shots of that in subsequent episodes. But sometimes I find it a little bit inconvenient to put on the ear like this, and I don't feel like it is the best call experience, but maybe that's just me. Either way, this is a great device, and if you have that sort of money and you want the best foldable in the business, this is the undisputed king. But if you don't want to spend more than 1 lakh on a phone, and that's a lot of money, completely understandable, This one would cost as much maybe as an iPhone 13 or 14, and you'd have a very cool looking phone. I love this color. And you'd also be in the foldables space. It's not like this outside display is completely useless. They've made it a lot more useful. The camera's better. It's not a flagship camera. It can't really compete with the iPhone or the S22 Ultra, but it is a much more practical, pocketable and easier to handle sort of a device. So I really think if you've already got a Flip 3 or a Fold 3, maybe you don't need to upgrade just yet. But if you're on the market for a new foldable and have a lot of money to spend, then yes, the Fold 4 is, like I said, the OG. But if you want to spend a little bit lesser and perhaps experiment with a device which really makes your life easier, then the Flip 4 is a great deal as well. Now, solving all your tech queries has made me very happy, but also a little hungry. So I'm going to go get something to eat and maybe a coffee at the cafeteria. But my tech geek team at Tech Today seems to have other ideas when they are hungry. I have self-service here, do it all by yourself, but they are getting pampered too much and there's a huge tech element. Well, have a look.
So, ever since COVID, things have become more and more contactless with humans and more hands-on with robots. There's one here serving me my spring rolls.
Dear guest, your order has been delivered. Hello, here's your dish. Please take it away from my tray and touch my hand to let me get back to work. Thank you.
Her name is Diva, and she has a selected path on which she's going to move, and she can go and stop at each and every one of these tables here at this restaurant. Robots come and serve you food, and this is as hands-on with the robot and contactless with humans that you can get as far as an experience is concerned. Now this one, it functions on a battery. Okay, so they charge it overnight and it can do entire day on one single charge. Other than that, they have a tab which is fitted, and then you can just feed in the number of the table. Like this is table number 2, you feed in 2 and it'll come and it'll stop right here. After this, it'll take its entire path and it'll go back and it's done. Now, if I wanted to leave, all I need to do is press on exit and she will take her own path and head back. The entire thing is fairly easy and interesting when you get served by a robot. Terminator can wait a while. I think right now the experience is enough fun.
Have a nice meal.
Fairly well mannered as well. So Diva is fitted with some sensors as well because I'm standing on her path and ideally she's going to...
Excuse me, you're on my way.
Very polite.
Please, excuse me, you're on my way. Excuse me, okay. You're on my way. Would you please make a room for me? Thank you.
So,
Would you please make a room for me? Thank you.
So very politely she'll ask you to move out of her way and she'll keep repeating herself until you don't move out of her way, and that's how she goes about her path. So there are sensors and they can trace anybody standing in front.
Boy, oh boy, technology never ceases to amaze me. Robots serving you dinner. You also saw what the Apple event is going to be all about on September 7th. And our showstopper, you've never seen this anywhere else on Indian television or on Indian YouTube, the LG all-in-one device, which you can use like this, of course. And if you're at home and you want to enjoy the ultimate viewing experience, you can do this as well. Cameras up on top. If you've liked this and you want me to use this as the background in some of my shows, maybe do all sorts of newsy stuff on Business Today, then let me know. Do write into us. Thanks so much for watching. This is your host Aayush saying until next week, adios.